We're not kidding around. Children's books are a cultural phenomenon. When we think of children's books, we imagine exploring fantastical places like Wonderland, Hogwarts, or Oz. But it turns out the earliest kids' books weren't about storytelling at all. Join us to get a primer on the history of Kid Lit in this episode of Half Price Books, All Things Printed and Recorded. American classrooms have had some kind of children's book since the 17th century, but the type of book kids can read have changed dramatically over the years. Once upon a time, in the late 1600s, British philosopher John Locke penned a short book he called Some Thoughts Concerning Education. He had a plan to make learning fun, and he felt kids should have easy, pleasant books, preferably with lots of pictures, to inspire their creativity. The first illustrated picture book for kids, the Orbis Pictus, had already made its debut in 1658, but let's just say the illustrator was no Maurice Sendak. Locke's take on picture books was mostly full of letters and symbols, but in 1744, John Newbery released A Little Pretty Pocketbook, which is considered to be the first real children's story. All books for kids were created to be educational, and it wasn't until the English writer and mathematician Lewis Carroll sent his heroine Alice down the rabbit hole in 1865 that the golden age of children's literature began. Because people considered childhood a space of protected innocence, kids' books provided a safe place for curiosity and wonder to flourish. Any young reader in the 1800s could pal around with Huck Finn, Tom Sawyer, Peter Pan, or The Little Princess in their imaginations. By the 1940s, everyone's favorite little golden books were introduced. A typical kid's book sold from $2 to $3 a piece, but each little golden book was just a quarter, making them a large success. The 8th book in the series, The Pokey Little Puppy, is still the top-selling kids' book of all time. By the middle of the 20th century, the United States wasn't just in competition with the Soviets over the space race, we were also in competition to create the next generation of smart kids. Smart kids needed smart books, so the Beginner Book imprint was founded by Phyllis Cerf, Helen Geisel, and Ted Geisel, who you may know better by his nom de plume, Dr. Seuss. Based on the idea of creating books that use just 379 basic vocabulary words, his stories were so fun to read. They're still in print. They are indeed. Schools embraced books by Seuss and Sendak. The latter's Where the Wild Things Are ushered in a new era of books in 1963. The shift from no-frills school primers to fabulous fantasies was complete. Young adults got their own genre with the 1942 release of Maureen Daly's 17th Summer, and modern kid and teen books are often so compelling that you'll find stories such as Harry Potter capturing the imagination of multiple generations at the same time. It doesn't look like the wonder of kids' books will ever cease. The combined sales of kids' printed and digital books has risen from 136 million in 2004 to 260 million in 2014. That's a lot of little literary fans that will hopefully grow up to be great readers. This has been Half Price Books, All Things Printed and Recorded. If you'd like to learn more about the history of children's books, check out our blog at blog.hpb.com. Until next time.